Airstrikes in the Middle East paused over the weekend, but the question remains, will the U.S. and Iran take an off-ramp, even find one at this point? At this point, the New York Times is writing, quote, Trump has three main options: military escalation, economic crackdown, or declaring victory and getting out. Let's get back to the group chat. Obviously, the president wants to declare victory and get out, but he can't. You have worked for several secretaries of state. You have served on the House Foreign Affairs Committee. You were on President Clinton's National Security Council. How do you view the president's options at this stage of war?
Terrible. Look, the people who convinced President Trump to start this war never convinced him that it was a vital national interest.
Who do you think those people were?
I think, I mean, I know some of them. They won't be known to the public.
Do you think the name rhymes with Schmidt and Yahoo?
I don't think that. Well, I think we should. The responsibility is Donald Trump's. But the point I was going to make was that whoever was whispering in his ear never convinced him it was a vital interest. They convinced him it would be easy.
Yeah.
That was what he went for.
Yeah.
Right?
And he was just coming off Venezuela where he felt like the man.
Yeah.
He never.
I think that's exactly right.
And so now we're at a point where could we beat Iran in a war? Yeah, we could. But the cost would be astronomical in terms of U.S. lives, the depletion of U.S. munitions, which is, I think, in some ways the most important story of this war. 80% of our high-altitude ballistic missile interceptors are gone. 60% of our Patriot missiles, defense against missiles and rockets, are gone.
So did we know this for a fact now, despite the administration pushing back and saying that's not true?
We know this for a fact. And I mean, Ukraine is feeling it right now because they're basically defenseless against Russian ballistic missiles because we have no more Patriots to give them. So Putin gets to take free shots at Kyiv. If the Chinese were bold enough to start a war against Taiwan right now, we would be in a terrible situation. Trump knows this. His generals are telling him this. The Iranians know this, more to the point, which means, you know, there's nothing more to be accomplished by continuing the war. The costs are incredibly high, but he can't declare victory. The best he can get right now is a deal, maybe, where you get a consortium of countries in the Gulf saying, including Iran, unfortunately, saying we are in charge of shipping. There will be a tax, a toll, a fee that allows the shipping to go through. It will look terrible, but it is the best of all of the terrible options that he has.
Which is a lot worse than when the war started.
Yes.
Now,
how do you declare victory with that? Meanwhile, you know, Iran is saying we're not asking for the talks to resume, not one bit.
Yeah. Well, someone said that Iran has never won a war and never lost a negotiation. That person was Donald Trump. And now we're at negotiation, and Iran has never lost one.
Wow. Weigh in.
I mean, Donald Trump could declare a victory, right? Because Donald Trump just says what he wants to say. Exactly. That's exactly my point, right? He has 99% approval, right? He might as well declare victory in Iran. Sure. So he could do that. And so what's fascinating to me is that he doesn't take that step here. And some of it, I think, certainly is that he has these alliances and agreements that he has with people. But I think part of it is simply that he likes to make the missiles go boom, and he likes to feel like the tough guy, and he likes to post AI slop on Truth Social of, you know, the Cargill and getting obliterated. He likes to be a wartime leader and to have the planes fly around and do those things. And he doesn't want to have to be the guy who says, okay, now we're done with that. He likes to, if someone's like, but I think we just hit him one more time.
Or the fact that he's going to be surrounded by journalists with receipts saying BS, this ain't over, and you want nothing.
How many times has he been surrounded by journalists with receipts when he's totally blown them away like they're mosquitoes? Like, he's done it 1,000 times. Like, absolutely it is the case that he could step out of this and people would come to him and say, you didn't win, and he would just make up some excuse. Like, this is what he does. The fact that he stays in there, I'm sure there's part of it which is that, but it really is he likes this position and he likes the
But he can walk away now and he can say that it's a win, but they're going to have the Strait of Hormuz. They're going to have control over it, and what's that going to do? It's going to drive up oil price, it's going to put us in an economic decline, and American voters are going to feel it.
I'm not saying he's going to win. He has is the markets, right? He says, look, we're on pause, nothing's happening, and the market's up 600. That changes immediately when businesses actually realize the strait is not open. There is going to be a massive toll on it. Farmers say we're going to need another giant farm aid package. You can't BS when the market says no bueno.
Yeah, well, it can be open. The arrangement that I suggested is possible, where you have a group of countries that are basically running the straits. That's one in which shipping is going through. It's terrible because we've conceded something that the United States has long opposed, the idea that you don't have freedom of navigation, that the coastal states get to either shoot at you if you don't pay a toll. as a matter of principle, is awful. But from an economic point of view, that's the only way that at least gets the shipping to go through and oil prices to stay relatively low. Is that a victory? No, it's a defeat, but it's better than the status quo.
Okay, so even if the president is able to believe his own hype and say, this is over, we're done, for the next 99 days, Republicans need to get themselves reelected, and they don't have his certain je ne sais quoi to BS us into something like that.
It's the core broken promise of Trump's second term, right? No more forever wars. We're in a forever war. And we're going to bring gas prices down, and they've gone up. The Republicans are running against this, who are running around about this. You hear them talk a lot about, well, it's worth it. This is all worth it. We're spreading freedom. We're protecting American security. That has not resonated with the voters. That this has not connected yet. It's what they're running on. But this is really the central problem that Trump has given his party, I think, going into this election, is that this one thing he said he was not going to do, right? He says, other presidents have told you, they've lied to you about wars. I'm not going to do that. He did. And now his own party has to run on the idea that actually gas prices going up can be good in some circumstances. It's very, very tough.
After gas prices had actually gone down, he could have actually had something of a win on that, but because he's forced this issue.
Where's Congress? You wrote in 2018 that Congress willfully abdicated their responsibility over war. Where are you now? What are you thinking now that the administration is arguing that the 60-day war powers deadline resets every time hostilities resume?
Well, it's crazy. I mean, one of the secrets of Congress is that they like to say that they want the power that the Constitution gives them to say yes or no to wars, but very few members of Congress individually want the responsibility that goes with that.
That seems like not a secret anymore.
No, but there is actually, so there is a challenge for Democrats here as well. Like, if you're a Democrat out on the stump right now, you're going to be talking about all this money that we've wasted and that the administration is asking Congress to approve to pay for this war. And they're going to say things like, well, for $70 billion, $50 billion, we could extend all of the Obamacare subsidies. We could have universal free child care for every single American. The problem is, at some point, the Congress, including Democrats, are going to have to give them some of that money because, again, we've depleted all the munitions. The analogy I would draw is, like, imagine you have an irresponsible teenager at home.
I don't have to imagine.
Takes out the family car on a joyride and totals it. You're furious, but like at some point you're going to have to buy a new car.
And remember how Kerry paid the price for not putting up funds for troops in battle. It was a key argument of Bush against Kerry that Kerry voted against a key supplemental vote for money for our troops in Iraq.
This is money that's been wasted.
But it's saying it's going to be hard for Democrats to vote against that because Republicans will punish them for it.
So I guess to finish the analogy, I'd say, like, you do have to buy a new car, but you have to make sure that the kid doesn't have access to the keys anymore. And so as a legislator, this is what I would be arguing. Like, we have to bite the bullet. We have to pay for this. But somehow we have to ensure that Trump cannot waste those munitions yet again.
All right, new topic before we go to break. I talked about it in the last hour. The president's push for a nuclear deal with Saudi Arabia. And while there could be arguments for it, in particular, how members of Trump's family and his allies and members of the administration, I'm talking Chris Wright, Howard Lutnick, whether it's them personally or their family members, could potentially benefit in a huge way financially.
Yeah, I mean, we have similar agreements with lots of other countries. So this particular thing is sort of entering a pantheon of similar sorts of agreements. But it is wild to me that how not only indifferent the administration is to having people who have a vested interest be part of these discussions, but how disinterested they are in even avoiding the appearance of that, right? There were ways in which this could have done, in which they kept themselves at some sort of distance in terms of having this sort of agreement. And they don't even bother. They don't care at all. And, it looks as though there's lots of people that stand to benefit.
There was a key revelation about that I read somewhere that I think is factual, that on this whole issue of conflicts and appearance of impropriety, there was some point during Trump, too, where Trump just realized, the light bulb went off and said, I'm not paying any consequence.
Correct.
Yeah, sure. He said, people don't care.
They're bathing in caviar when they get our calls, just going, and Democrats are seemingly doing nothing or can't do anything about any of this.
Well, they will be able to do something if they have the majority. I mean,
they will be able to do something. What
if they have the majority in both?
Okay, so
houses.
let's say
And
they
it's
do.
a key promise that they're making.
Yeah.
If we win,
I think
we're going to look into all that stuff.
anti-corruption platform will be one of the biggest things, if not the next congressional term, the next presidential.
It's huge in 2006. One of the main reasons 2006 went the way it did is because of the anti-corruption, all the things that happened.